Welcome one and all to another edition of the Defo Show with Lubie right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, brought to you by the wonderful people at Water Cleanup of Florida. Yeah, it's getting hot. The humidity is always here. We got a little bit of rain in the onset, and with the rain can sort of poke holes in our homes. And again, like I've talked about a lot, anyone who's heard us over the years, anyone who's new to us and just heard me, you can tell anxiety comes pretty easy to me. And when problems arise, I don't always handle them in the onset so well. But what's cool about finding and being involved with Water Cleanup of Florida, I've realized something happens in my home, for the most part, I'm in good hands. Because you know what? Whether it be water damage, fire, mold, some of the biggest issues we deal with our homes, they can not only find it out, but because of their licensed contractors, they can fix it for you. And that's another stressor for myself. My wife is a digital marketer, so she's online all the time, searching for things all the time. I don't want to go searching around online. Who's the best at this? Who's the best at that? If I know someone I can trust, it makes me relax. And knowing that Water Cleanup of Florida is there with over 60 years of experience between Michael, Robert, and their team, with the licensed contractors, they can find any issue and they can fix it. Plus, with 24/7 availability, in the sense that you can call them 24/7 to try and set up an appointment, get them out to your home. That makes life an even another level of easy. Just give them a call, 954-579-0356, 954-579-0356. Again, 24/7. 5 reasons. Lubie, mention either 5 reasons or Lubie. Get a free inspection during business hours. And you can also see what's going on with them and reach out to them. WCUFL.com. WCUFL.com. Hit them up on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Water Cleanup FL. Water Cleanup of Florida. We clean up your schmutz. And they were very schmutzy when they made their way to Philadelphia. I've been calling for them to be aggressive. I've been calling for them to get off the three-point line. I've been calling for Duncan Robinson. Well, all of that happened last night, and the schmutz was swept away, just like when you get Water Cleanup of Florida to your home. The Miami Heat cleaned everything up yesterday and dominated. The Philadelphia 76ers now have a 3-2 series lead heading back to Philadelphia later in this week. We talked about that, Defo and I. We also were kicking it old school with the icon Tony Segreto, and we had to bring Tony into our conversation about the Miami Heat. And 3 of us were very happy about what we saw and hoping for what we're going to see forward with the Heat. Of course, we talked a little bit about the Florida Panthers, as we still have that bet hanging with longtime South Florida writer with food, news, and sports, Mike Mayo. Panthers 2-2. Tonight is the night. Panthers at home, Game 5, try to take a 3-2 series lead. We'll talk about all that today. The Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
In the NBA, in series that are deadlocked at 2 apiece, the team that wins Game 5, which we had a couple of examples last night, ends up going on to win the series somewhere in the neighborhood of 85% of the time.
Yeah.
That might be a little bit higher than the actual number, but it's over 80% of the time, somewhere between 80 and 85% of the time. The team that wins Game 5, the pivotal Game 5, if there is a pivotal game in a series, it's a playoff series in the NBA that's knotted up at 2 apiece, and Game 5 is clearly, Lubie, the pivotal game. And it was last night for the Miami Heat, at least so we hope. Now, I would imagine that it went somewhat like this. Lubie, yesterday morning, Doc Rivers sends one of his assistants out there, maybe the guy that does the video, future Eric Spoelstra type, who has to do any number of schmenk jobs, much like Pat Riley was doing when he was the traveling secretary. He wasn't even an assistant coach then, but he was on his staff.
He was a
Who do you think Doc Rivers sends around the hotel to see if the players are in their rooms the next morning?
No idea. I saw Sam Cassell on his coaching staff. Maybe Sam Cassell, because he understands how it goes.
Yeah. I would think South Beach being the 6th man was very much in play. I don't know that anybody was spotted. Was Barry Jackson out there reporting on anything? Did he see any of the 76er players out there partying with, like, Iverson, who was probably leading the charge? But you could not be any more zombie-esque, any more missing in action than the Philadelphia 76ers were last night. Embiid was horrible in the ball game. It did seem like, and, you talk about women weaken legs. we went Mick from the Rocky movies here because you mentioned it, Lubie, in your astute observation about the Philadelphia 76ers shooting. All of their shots were short, just off. And that came from all angles. It wasn't just Embiid. It was Harden. It was Maxey. It was Danny Green. Anybody that had a basketball in their hand, bonk off the front rim, and or to get one of those balls that is not quite true, but ticks the front rim from the inside and then rattles around a little bit and goes out. Everything they shot was like that in the first quarter, and then throughout the ball game. And they end up down 12 after a quarter.
Yeah.
And they got annihilated, of course, in the fourth quarter when their legs turned to rubber. I would think that it was very much like, remember Escape from Alcatraz, the Clint Eastwood thing?
I've heard
the
of
depiction
it.
about the escape from the Alcatraz prison that ultimately led to its being shut down, I guess, sometime shortly after that, when those three guys escaped from Alcatraz and nobody ever knew what happened to them. It's still a mystery in San Francisco. You've been to San Francisco, right?
Yeah, a couple
the
times.
Anglin brothers, I guess, were two of the guys, and then there was one other that was depicted by Eastwood in the movies. And they had the dummy heads in the bed for the bed check. Do you think that the 76ers resorted to that? That when Sam Cassell actually
100%.
like poked a guy?
100%.
He found like a plastic blow-up guy in there, and that was supposed to be like Embiid or James Harden. You can't imagine if James Harden stayed home before that game or was in the hotel room at 11 o'clock to get plenty of rest so he could make the shoot around and be super effective, because he was horrible in this ballgame. As brilliant as he was in the fourth quarter in rallying Philadelphia to the 2-2 dead Heat in the series, and the Heat were dead in that game, just the opposite. So I'm thinking that bed check was probably the key. And anybody who was privy to that realized that, geez, nobody's in their room, Coach. Nobody's here.
No way.
They may as well have checked into a different hotel. So I have not seen a poor effort like that in a long, long time. And yet, I guess, could you say the same thing about the Dallas Mavericks? They fell completely apart also, although at least they were competitive for part of the ballgame.
They were in it till the half, and then they came out of the half, and I don't know. Like, I was watching the game. I looked away for a few minutes. I'm like, oh, maybe this will be a game. And then the Suns were up 14. I'm like, what the hell? What just happened?
So it played out, I don't know, is the NBA highly predictable? Is that just the way it is? Should we not be cashing ticket after ticket at various sports books or online on NBA games? You had to lay 3.5 with the Heat last night. Finally, we were right about something. We said, you know what, that doesn't seem like a lot of points. Because this is one of those games where all of a sudden, miraculously, as if using your magic wand theory, as if Eric Spoelstra was able to wave a magic wand over what was going on out there. And his team became a cohesive unit that was in perfect symmetry all night long. Everybody that was supposed to do something specific that was, indicative of their characteristics throughout the season, they did all of that. Max Strus is hoisting threes from everywhere. You had Jimmy Butler doing his thing. All of a sudden, Tyler Hero's awake. Bam Adebayo is having a big ball game.
Vincent.
And, they're just taking it to the Philadelphia 76ers all night long. It was enough aggression that the Heat displayed that it might have even opened up another crack in the Liberty Bell. It's possible. Liberty Bell, by the way, one of the few racetracks that I always wanted to go to that I never made it to. And, of course, it's been shut down for many, many years. A Philadelphia stronghold. But, it was ugly. And I guess if you're a Heat fan, you couldn't have asked for anything better because they now find themselves in a somewhat commanding position. The only question is, do they continue this momentum that they gathered in game number 5 and win it and just finish off the 76ers, put an end to the process, turn it into like processed cheese? This is going to look like a
like
slice, of American cheese that comes in a little plastic Kraft. Did you ever eat a whole package of Kraft slices at any time?
No.
Were you ever inclined to do something like that? Binge eating of cheese?
I've binge eaten cheese, but it was good cheese. I've never binge eaten Kraft. It's always had a weird taste by itself. Like, it's got to be on something.
Yeah, your mother would find all the little plastic wrappers all over the place. And, and then she had planned to make, like, a bunch of cheese sandwiches for some charity event.
Of course.
And, of course, you had eaten 15 of the 16 slices. Yeah. And left the other one, like, kind of half-eaten also. I mean, how am I still alive after
I don't
doing
know.
stuff like
You've
that?
done a lot of
That's
stuff.
crazy, right? Imagine that, shoveling 15 slices of Kraft American cheese in your face. And it was always good when they had the big package, too.
Oh, Jesus.
I wasn't even that big of a cheese fan. It just was, dependent on how little was available in terms of stuff that you actually like in a refrigerator late at night. When you had a metabolism where you could eat like a whole pizza and then go out to eat.
I know.
Those days were great. What happened, Lubie?
Age. Time.
I mean, if you had your choice between having, an effective and active metabolism, I guess you would prefer having, a large amount of testosterone remain in your body.
Yeah.
That would be a lot more
make
pleasant.
up for everything
than,
else.
Who cares if you're fat as long as you
can
can
make
still
up
do
for
it,
other
right?
shit. Yeah. You can go to the gym.
Yeah, she could tell you, suggest maybe why don't you get in shape?
Yeah,
that might be good. That's ugly, too. I see you haven't had this, I don't think. I don't know, maybe with your first wife, because you were starting to put on a couple of pounds back then. And I don't know what it was, but, when she references the fact that, why don't you skip a couple of meals?
Oh, jeez. I haven't gotten that yet.
Does that?
That's bad.
Does that kind of take the argument into another area that, now it's going to get ugly?
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, yeah. Usually you get defensive and then you go hard. And women are no one better at going hard than a woman. Women will go after shit that you didn't even know they've ever thought in their life. And you
don't ever want to suggest that to a woman. Never.
Oh, no.
I mean, she could be, the size of Butterbean Ish, and you still would never say, if you use that in an argument, look at yourself.
Oh, no. That's the end of that.
You talk about irreconcilable differences. Yep. I mean, there's the definition of it right there. All right, so we've reconciled the fact that the Miami Heat look to be in a superior position here in their second-round playoff series against the Philadelphia 76ers, and we don't know what to expect from the Florida Panthers tonight. All right, welcome back to the show. We're Old School with Tony Segreto here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz. We do have to go ahead and express our congratulations to our good friend Albert Castiglia, who wrote some of the customized music that we have here on the show and allowed us to sort of pimp off some of his early stuff that was not contractually obligated to never be played anywhere but, someplace that was extending him royalties for it. Just received the Blues Rock Performer of the Year.
Nice.
Really? Yes.
Nice.
And that was, there's a Blues Society that has a big awards thing in Mississippi on Beale Street, right? And Memphis, Tennessee. What am I talking about? And sure enough, he wins it. Performer of the Year. So congratulations.
Yeah, the music that we have on this show is terrific.
All Albert all the time.
It really is.
Rocking and rolling. All very good. All right, Tony Segreto with us here. It's All School with Tony. So for me, I thought this was as wild and entertaining a game as I've ever watched. And now hockey is very abstract. And the interesting thing, and you know this from being around the circuit here for a long, long time, that people who haven't watched a hockey game in their lives, they'll watch a couple of playoff games if their home team is in it, and then all of a sudden they're experts. That was icing. That was fucking icing. And everybody wants to call icing on everything. On everything. And all of a sudden,
they never call offside. They only call icing.
And then, Lubie and I, really, look, I watched hockey since I was a little kid, so I understand the game, but I couldn't tell you that I'm any expert on today's NHL. I followed it kind of casually throughout the season. I couldn't say, and in fact, I can say, I did not watch one hockey game during the regular season in its entirety. You catch clips here, and you tune in here for a little while. You see what's going on, maybe get a feel for different teams. But I did watch enough of the Panthers to think, wow, these guys are great.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen good teams, and in any sport, they were playing as well as any team in any sport that was in one of the major sports leagues and had a regular season that was really just absolutely terrific.
I agree.
Scintillating all the way through.
Yeah, I love the way they skate. I love the push. I love the attacking. It's first of all, the game of hockey in and of itself is exciting. But when you have a team like the Panthers, who first they're great athletes, their speed is incredible. And when you see them attack, when you see that surge coming down the ice. And they're flipping that puck back and forth, man. There is nothing quite like it. I love the speed of the game. I can't wait for the next game. When the game is over, I'm like, oh, can we play again? And you're worn out, but the players are worn out. And you know what? And I love that, they still talk to them between periods. I just love the whole way it's set up. I really, really do. I think it's and you're right. I've been watching the Panthers since it's their inception, and I tune in. I can say I've watched some games during the year, but man, oh man, this playoff has been so good. And there's no question that we all have a little bit of an edge going. Come on, let's win this thing. Come on, let's win this thing.
Mostly because we're struggling is what's made it. Such an anxious, moment every second that ticks off the clock, except for that one game that they coasted in.
Yeah.
In game 2. Now they get hammered in game 3, and it's like
that was the outlier right there. That was the outlier. They just got ripped,
hammered, annihilated.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, what's going on here? This isn't even close to the same team. How could they possibly choke again? And I know you also are not a fan of labels where this team had nothing to do with teams that were playing here since like 97.
No.
I mean, there is a connection to the recent past, but, the whole notion that they've never gotten out of the first round and they're a bunch of choking dogs is a tough thing to ascribe to this particular team. And yet here they are.
Yeah.
Looking like they were about to just gag on one of the great seasons that we've seen from any hockey team in a regular season in the history of the NHL. Maybe going back to the Canadians.
Yeah, that game right there that you talk about, the game that they were just beat up in, it was they weren't who they are. Like what I was just saying, they weren't attacking.
That was weird.
Same thing in game 1.
In game 1 too, though. That was the thing.
Yeah, they seemed listless. And you say to yourself, I mean, when you watch the Heat last night, you go, what happened?
Yeah.
That was a conspiracy.
Yeah,
that's a conspiracy.
Defo.
South Beach. Adam Silver had LeBron take the Sixers out. He told him that Embiid got stiff for the MVP, but LeBron was going to sit with him, and they were out till 6 a.m. I think Iverson was in his hotel room before most of the Sixer players were before that game. I mean, could they have been women weak in legs? You know that, right, out of Rocky Balboa. And it certainly appeared that was the case there, and that something else was in play besides just
He'd also woke up too. That's what was weird.
At the very least, we know we either have a game 7 or a game 1.
And that'd be wonderful. I'd rather a game 1.
At the very least, I'd rather have a game 1. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So I mean, how torturous was it? Did you think the coach had lost his mind? This interim coach had lost his mind. I don't think they named this guy.
He's still interim. Brunette is still the interim. They haven't totally named him the head coach.
Barry Trotz will be behind the bench next year if I could put a vote in. But anyway, he pulls his goalie out there with 3 minutes to go, and you're thinking,
3. You got
it's very dicey decision.
Yeah. A lot of time.
And then that puck's going towards the net there, and it's over. You see,
it was right after he pulled him.
Skull and crossbones
slow
going up on the screen.
You see the puck coming, go, no, hurry up, somebody get there.
No one was getting there. I mean, how that missed is beyond comprehension. I think all of a sudden the wind blew it off course. What was that? And then they score. I mean, that was even more remarkable. And then win the game in overtime.
Ripping down the glass and going.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God! It was like a curling thing, where they had the guys with the brooms in front of it, and they just steered it out of the zone.
No.
I'll
tell you what, I can't wait for the next game. It's just like, okay, let's.
That's tonight.
I know. I can't wait.
I can.
Can't wait. Yeah.
I'm running a little scared here because this isn't the NBA where the home team comes home for Game 5 and annihilates the opposition, and you ask yourself, were those other 2 games in Philly and in Dallas fixed? I mean, what the hell was that? How could this team, get they get back in the series, both the Mavericks and the 76ers, and then fall? I mean, a pratfall. Like, you would have to think that somebody had gotten to James Harden and Embiid last night.
It was crazy. They could. First of all, it was like there was at the beginning of the game. It looked like there was a lid on the basket for them.
Yep.
Yes, and you could tell it was a struggle. Why? Because women weaken legs.
And well,
You're not buying my conspiracy
whatever.
theory that Adam Silver.
I don't buy any of your conspiracy theories at all, ever. I don't.
This one is as far fetched as any, Tony.
I don't go shopping in your conspiracy store.
Silver was behind it. He had a big bet.
And then
it was about to be exposed, Tony.
Our guys can't miss. It was incredible. And
Max Strus looked like Jerry West out there. He really did.
Yeah, and they bring out these good points, like the series doesn't really start until someone wins on the road. Well, guess what?
You don't have to.
Here we go. Here we go. So, something's going to have to break now because we'll see what happens. And
I don't know. It's hard to see a team like either Dallas or Philly coming back from that level of embarrassment.
You wouldn't exactly. Well, we've seen them come back before. I mean, that was. When you saw going into half that they closed it to 12, you thought to yourself, okay. This is going to be a game. Yeah, because now we'll come back. I can overcome a 12-point deficit real quick. But then come out in the second half and we pull out. What was the largest lead we had? Was it close to 30?
30. No, they won by 30. The largest lead was 33.
Won by like 35.
They're up by 33.
Yeah, was it over? Yeah,
they won by 33.
The margin of victory wasn't the largest lead we
33.
Had.
They got up to 33.
Yeah, 33. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Such ugliness.
It was crazy.
Hard.
You talk about embarrassment. Doc, what do you say to a team after you lose by that? Let's lace them up and play next time.
You burned the goddamn video.
Doc Rivers. I will tell you this. When I just lost his name. When the guy went down with
Embiid. Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Oh, that was. I was like, wow, this could be bad. This could be bad.
No, he looked like Jerry.
He was out of it all game. Like he was out of it all game.
Yeah,
he really did. He looked like Jerry Quarry just taking a meeting tonight on ESPN Classics, where it's okay. Here we go, George Foreman and Jerry Quarry. Here's round one.
It's very difficult. Listen, I'm not a fan of Harden, but I'm not a fan of Harden.
No,
it's like I'm kind of like okay.
He seems hard to like for some reason.
Yeah.
He flops every time.
You have to admit he was a great player, and that's the thing. You can't even count on him anymore.
No.
Every once in a while he'll show that flash of brilliance, with three guys on him and all of a sudden, nothing but net. But that's doesn't happen very often anymore.
No, he doesn't have the explosiveness that he had.
No, not at all.
Not at 320 pounds. He looks like Wayne Embry going out there. Speaking
No. We should for those of you who don't know Wayne Embry, I think. Lubie, you got to find a picture of Wayne Embry.
Wayne Embry probably was svelte by today's standards, but
Wayne Embry made Barkley look svelte.
Yeah.
Come on.
I love Wayne Embry, man, because I like the fat guy in sports. I always did, and so Wayne Embry was one of my heroes.
Thank you once again to Tony Segreto. Thank you to Texas Roadhouse Catholic Health Services for always bringing Tony Segreto to us and to you. Thank you to all of you for tuning in to the Defo Show with Lubie. The Miami Heat allowed me to, and I think all of South Florida, to exhale, go up 3-2. Like Defo always jokes around, it was pivotal. It was nice to see the Heat look like that in a game. I'm hoping they can do that in Philadelphia because it's been the tale of two series for both teams. Heat look great at home and on the road. Sixers look really good at home and on the road. I, like most people have thought, the Heat are the better team. Plus, Joel Embiid is not himself, okay? He's been better on offense at times, but he doesn't have the lift on his shot. His movement isn't great. Last night he grabbed his back almost the entire game. His eyes messed up. Literally, the play that he's bitching about was Dedmon hitting the ball, which is legal, into his face, and he was brought to tears, meaning he's in a lot of pain. So he probably shouldn't be out there. Good. He's trying. The Heat need to attack him. They did it last night. Bam didn't score a lot, but he was aggressive on both ends of the floor. The Heat were aggressive on both ends of the floor and slowly pulled away. The Heat need to keep that up in Philadelphia in Game 6. I hope we finally see that. And I hope tonight Florida Panthers match the Heat and go up 3-2. We'll talk about all that. The Defo Show with the Lubie. Just Google The Defo Show. DEFO 7 to 9 live with our show. Also, check out our exclusive content podcast on the Believe Network, Believe.com after hours. Yesterday we talked with longtime South Florida man when it came to the Miami Heat. Grant Long played here for years, played in the NBA for over 15 years, and has been an analyst with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Detroit Pistons, knows the game of basketball. Check out that conversation with Grant Long on the Believe Network, Believe.com, search After Hours, and each and every day right here on South Florida content, where you know and love, the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?